Hello YouTube, hello YouTube. This is your host King Geo. So now we have got news that your local TV star, Omar Carrasquillo, better known as OMI in a HELLCAT, got hit with a 5.5 year sentence in order to forfeit $30 million in his cable piracy and the $6 million that he had in cash. And look at that. Local YouTube star sentenced to 5.5 years, order to forfeit $30 million in large-scale cable piracy case. Now we go here, and we're going to see here. You can read it if you like to. I'm going to go slow. If you like to read it, you can pause it. So he has to pay. There he goes. As part of the sentencing Tuesday, he was ordered to forfeit more than $30 million in assets, including nearly $6 million in cash, cars including Lamborghinis, Porsche, Bentleys, McLarens, and a portfolio of more than a dozen properties he has amassed across Philadelphia and its suburbs. The judge said $30 million is a lot of money, but tangible objects aren't everything. U.S. District Judge Harvey Barter III said in announcing the punishment during the hearing in federal court, you have a large following, and there may be people who think if you can get away with it, they can too. So in other words, the judge is trying to tell them, what you did was wrong, because in the eyes of others, they say to yourself, those followers are saying if you could do it, they could do it too. Or, OMI in a HELLCAT did it, so why can't I do it? And he got away with it. And that's it. Carrasquillo apologized to his family, employees, and the cable companies, as you can see there. He says, I really didn't know the significance of this crime until I was picked up by the FBI at my home. I feel like I let everyone down. Well, he knew what he was doing, because even before he did this, he was with what was this guy's name from Florida? He was with Entertainment Man, and he was with this other Cuban guy, the bald guy, Candy, whatever his name is. He was with him, so he knew, because he knew this was illegal, because he went with other. He was doing Gears TV. This OMI in a HELLCAT was not his original name. So he was doing it way before he did this. So he knew. And you can see that. You can read there. But it's kind of sad. OMI became his own worst enemy. If OMI didn't go in front of live TV, if OMI didn't flaunt what he had, this would have never happened. And again, this is what happens. And I'm not saying this to say anything bad about OMI, but to be honest with you, when you get greedy, this is what happens to you. When you're a drug dealer, you don't go out there, you buy yourself Mercedes, and you buy this and that. That's going to bring attention. That's going to bring attention to you. People are going to say, you know what? This person that never worked a day in his life, and look what he's driving, look what he's doing, and you know what's going to happen? That's going to bring attention to you, and that's the type of attention that you don't necessarily want. You don't go out there, you buy yourself a $20 million home, or $10,000 home, or $20 million home, and you had nothing a month or 2 or 3 months ago. That's good. That's going to bring up suspicion, and that's what happened. He brought up suspicion upon himself. Had he just stood in a Sweeterboro and he would have just show his house and not show off his cars, then it would have taken him time. But when you do that, you raise the eyebrows of a lot of people. He could have just kept himself, not even go on YouTube, and just kept a low profile. You think the FBI would have caught him? No. As long as he paid his taxes, no one would have known, but someone within his realm or someone outside ratted him out. That's why, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, because you don't know who is who. And that is, and that in the sense that, that is a shame. You amass all that wealth, $30 million. Now you have to give all that up. Unless you have some money in the Cayman Islands, and you can't even use that, because if he uses that, the FBI is going to say, what happened? So this is what's going to happen. So he gets sentenced to 5.5 years. He'll do 80%. He gets sentenced to 5.5 years, he'll do 80% of that time, which would be maybe 3.25 years. And he comes out on parole. He does the rest in the street. And most of his time, I'm surprised that the judge didn't ask him for restitution or gave him a fine. They usually fine when you take it this far in federal court. The judge usually fines you. They give you a $250,000 fine or $230,000 fine. But in this case, he has to give everything back. So I'm not sure they're going to give him any fine. But the thing here is that, when you do these things, you got to maintain yourself low. I give props to those who went from bottom to the top and they busted the ass. Like you say, you come from here, you become a truck driver, you bust your ass. You come. Like they say, you come from the Bronx and you bust your ass you start as a helper, and as a helper you work either for a truck driving company. And from a helper, you bust your ass and you become a truck driver, and from a truck driver you bust your ass and you become then you buy yourself a truck, and you go for it. You own your own little business. That's sacrifice. That's something that you can say, you know what, that's cool. If he could do it, I could do it. But I can't say, what he did was cool, because what he did, he was cheating a system. And I'm not saying, other people do it. Yes, of course, other people do it too. But you're cheating a system, and what you're not progressing. You're not doing anything. Like people could say, I cannot say, I admire Omi because, look what he got. Omi got what he got because he cheated the system. He wanted to be slick. Now, if Omi would have been one, he worked in construction, he works as a helper, as a helper he became a foreman, as a foreman he became this, and he said, we got Omi Construction, and yeah, I can say, you know what, I admire that guy, because, he busted his ass. But you gotta remember, guys, anything that comes easy in life is not worth having. Anything that comes easy in life is not worth having, because you want to bust your ass. You want to feel proud of yourself. You say, well, you know what? I got these $30 million because I busted my ass. I woke up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning and I want to sleep at 12 o'clock at night. I busted my hump. I did this and that. That is busting your ass. Then you can say you're proud to yourself, but you can't say I'm proud of myself because I schemed the system out of $30 million. And for what? At the end of the day, you have to end up paying all that back. What you amassed, you lost. I'm not wishing any ill things on him. I'm not saying that. And don't get me wrong. I wish Omi the best. Hopefully he learns from this. And maybe when he comes out, he can make a book deal. People say, let's make a movie out of it. Hopefully this will be, he can make something good out of this, or something good can come out of it. But to those who look up to him and say, he did what he did, that's not the way to do things right. That's not the way to do them. So he's got to give all that money back. He's got to do that. And now he's going to spend 3.5 years in prison, for cable company, for cable, Well, at the long run, was it worth it? It becomes worth it if in those 3 years he can get book deals and he can get a movie made out of them, and he can profit out of that, because that's okay. But then you have 3.5 years that you're not going to see your son. Your son can visit you, but it's not the same. Your son visiting you as you holding your hand and spending every day that you can with your son. So it is what it is. You have to attend to the consequences, and those are the consequences that you get. But he didn't get deputation. 5.5 years for what he did is not bad, especially Omi does have a criminal history. So those go by guidelines, and those goes about what crimes that you had before, and the judges take that into consideration, because the more arrests you get and the more times you've been convicted, you go through a point system, and once you reach a certain amount of points, the judge is allowed to sentence you to a certain amount of time. And this being a federal case, the federal judge can say, I would take that into consideration, or I'm not going to take that into consideration because that's for state, this is federal. So it all depends on that judge, but But every time you get arrested, you're accumulating points. It's in the point system. And that's how you do. That's how when you go, if you ever go to prison, when you go to county jail, you go to prison, you go into a classified room for a few days, and and that classification, what it does is that it looks at your record, and if you have a certain amount of arrests, that's the difference between minimum security, medium, and max. You could have a lot of points and never committed a violent crime, but your points are so high that they're going to put you with max. People that are violent, people that murder, stuff like that, that they will do. Then if you have too many points, they can either put you in minimum or they can put you in medium. And that's how the Department of Correction evaluates you when you come in. It's by a point system. So the same thing when when you're in the courts. When you're in the court, if you never got arrested, you ain't got no points. So the judge can give you ROR. That's releasing your reconnaissance. And then when you come back, the judge can if you make a plea deal with the DA. The DA can say, he's never had a history, and the judge makes the decision. The DA can say, I'll give him one. I want to give him 1 to 3. The judge says, well, this person's never been arrested before. This is the first time. I'm not going to take that deal. I'm going to give him probation. Make sure that this person, that when he or she comes out, can better themselves. That doesn't have to come back to jail. So it is what it is, but that's the way our justice system works. He got very lucky. He only got 5.5 years. I see people get more. And he's just got to start from scratch. But that's what it is. And I feel for his family. Hopefully, I'm his son. He has a good boy. I never met the kid. I never met OMI in my life, but I've only spoke to him on the phone twice. And I just wish him the best of luck in all his endeavors and everything that he does. All right, guys. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel.